You are tuning in to Renewed Day by Day with Pastor LaRosa. Here is the next part of our lesson called Paul's Joy in Ministry Despite His Circumstances.
Okay, let's get started. The history leading to Paul's house arrest in Rome. And again, we're going to start in Acts 21:17, and we're going to go all the way to Acts 28:31, just picking out key verses. We got to move fast, so hang on to your seatbelts. You ready? Here we go. The church at Philippi was planted by Paul in Acts 16:40 during his second missionary journey. In Acts 17, he went to Athens. We're going to quote one thing he said there. And then in Acts 21:15, Paul had his third missionary journey. Okay, starting there. Starting in Acts 21:17, okay, Paul is back in Jerusalem from his third missionary journey. Okay, and that's where this drama, this adventure really starts. This is really an adventure. Again, we're going to see a trip to Rome that is not a vacation, and it's part of his training. Okay, let's look at it. Paul's joy of ministry in a crisis starts in Jerusalem. Okay, how did it start? Paul is arrested in Jerusalem to save his life. And then once again, I'm repeating this, he spends 2 years in prison at Caesarea. And this again, he gives his testimony. Very good chapter to see how to give a testimony before salvation, at salvation, after salvation. I've heard Pastor Danny do this in teaching people how to give their testimony. Okay, he suffers a lot of injustice in Caesarea for 2 years, but had amazing opportunities to present the gospel with his testimony, not only to Jews and the Praetorian Guard, but also, the people that saved his life, but also to other people. Powerful witnessing to people in positions of political authority. For example, when Paul said, I appeal to Caesar, he could do that because he was standing before politicians who had the power to give him that appeal. Okay, then Governor Felix, and he was replaced by Festus, and then he stood before King Agrippa and Bernice, and he witnessed. And King Agrippa said, what are you trying to do? Almost you persuaded me to be a Christian. And Paul said, I would die. I wish you were like me, except you didn't have these chains. So he was a powerful witness to them. And listen to Acts 25:12. Listen to this. This is important. This starts his trip to Rome, which is not a vacation. After Festus had conferred with his council, he declared, okay, here it is. He has the political power to do this. You have appealed to Caesar. Caesar's in Rome. He's the highest authority in the Roman Empire. Okay? To Caesar you shall go. I think it's already the Roman Empire after the Roman Republic. To Caesar you will go. Okay? So let's see what happens. The trip to Rome was not what, everybody? It was not a vacation. Let's find out. So here he is. First of all, Acts 27. This is a great chapter to read. I'm only going to cover a few verses. When it was decided that we would do what? Sail for Italy. Do you know where Rome is located? Italy. Okay? Paul and some other what? So he's still a prisoner even on this ship. Were handed over to a centurion, that's the leader of 100 troops, named Julius, like Julius LaRosa, a famous singer back in the other millennium, okay, Italian guy, who belonged to the imperial regiment. He was a big shot, as high as you could go as a military person, okay? And he was escorting the Apostle Paul right to the capital of Italy, which was Rome, or at least one of the biggest cities. Look at Acts 27:2. We're still talking about Acts 27. We boarded a ship. You look it up. It's a long name. I didn't give you the name here, but when we look at the Alexandrian ship, you'll know it's different. Something's going to happen to this ship. It is something you don't want to go on a cruise. It was not a vacation cruise, okay? We boarded a ship about to sail for ports along the coast of the province of Asia. Now, they like to go along the ports in case, remember, they had sails and all of that. They depended on the wind, and therefore they would like to be close to land in case they had a storm so they could get back into some port going along the coast of the province of Asia, but they're still on this long journey to Rome. And it was relatively, both by boat and by land, a long journey. Okay, so in Acts 27:4, no more okays, before very long, a wind, listen, of hurricane force, and people have identified this, called the Northeasterner. So this is a super typhoon, okay? No, not okay, a super typhoon. And it swept down. Listen carefully. Acts 27:20. I really want to pause here without saying a non-word. This is so powerful. This happens. Here he is on his way to God's will, just like when remember when people, it was Esau or Jacob, when he had to go back because God led him that way, and then he had to face his brother Esau with 450 men. When neither star or sun or stars appeared for many days, and the storm continued raging, we finally gave up all hope of being saved. Wow. You talk about a death or face-to-face with the Lord. Here it was. This is one of those things for me, living as Christ on this boat, but dying as gain. I'm going to sink on this boat. Gave up all hope of being saved. So, listen to what Paul says in Acts 27:22. Listen to what he says. How can he say this? Now, but I urge you to keep up your courage. He's talking to the crew. There's over 200 of them. And he's talking to them through his escort, the centurion. Because not one of you will be lost. Only this ship will be destroyed. And you can read that chapter. He told them not to go. He had the anticipation of a storm. So how could Paul say this? How could Paul say, don't worry, all of you are going to be saved, but the ship is going to be destroyed? And this is where you have to understand the Bible is a supernatural book. Some people check out when you start talking about the supernatural. Well, you might as well not even read the Bible, because right beginning in Genesis 1:1, the Bible is a supernatural book. And God does things that science cannot do or anybody else cannot do. So sometimes God delivers by providential circumstances, just putting together people's choices like the cross. Sometimes by natural events, okay? And sometimes he uses the laws of science that he set up. But many times, in this case, especially in New Testament times, or sometimes supernatural intervention. And this is what he does in this case. Supernatural intervention. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe in angels? If you don't, you might as well stop reading the Bible. They're mentioned over 200 times. And the whole story of the Lord Jesus Christ coming to earth. Angels are communicating, and it tells us that God spoke in times past in various ways, including angels. So in Acts 27:23, listen to what Paul said to this group of people that had lost all hope. Just like Joseph and Mary. I mean, they thought, this is insane. I'm pregnant? No way, Jose, it can't be. It was a miracle. Last night, an angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve. Can you imagine all these people? The centurion, he's got a prisoner, and this prisoner is talking like this, and then it happens. Listen, last night an angel of God whose I am and whom I serve stood beside me. And he said, do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand trial before Caesar. So I guess he's not going to drown and go down with this ship. God has graciously, listen to this, God has graciously given you the lives all who sail with you. That's the promise of God via this angel. And God uses angels as servants. They are ministers to us. That's their primary role.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel for the last part of our lesson here in Renewed Day by Day with Pastor Ralph LaRosa. God bless you and stay healthy.